the continuation of Fix-tion, starring me, Matt, and my co-host, Daniel.
Oh, hello, everyone.
We switched it up.
I
It's
know.
usually Dan hosts.
You did really, really well.
You did great.
Every once in a while, I may let you do that again. We'll
Promise.
see. We'll see. It depends if you clean your room and if you've done all your chores. And
You guys
let's be
can't see
honest,
it right now, but I'm blushing.
if you finish your broccoli, because let's be honest, we
Really?
have an issue with that, man.
Is it because you're wearing the dad sweater?
Well, I mean, it feels nice, and we can't just keep putting cheese on everything.
I
You're
hate
gonna
it
have
here.
to
It's like a prison.
eventually eat a real vegetable. Okay. Hey, everyone. How are we doing today?
I am doing swell. How about
That
you?
wasn't for you.
Oh.
Okay. Welcome to Fan Fiction, the podcast where we talk about things we like and then complain about things that we don't. I think that's a fair assessment of what's been happening.
Kind of see what we can do to broaden those horizons on
And make
such
it a little
things.
brighter.
Make it brighter, a little sunnier.
So today we've decided that our topic is going to be drum roll. I like that drum roll.
Well, it's more fanfare.
Yeah, I liked
but it
it.
fits
It
because
does.
it's Final Fantasy.
It is Final Fantasy Day, everyone. And there are so many of them, we all know, that we are going to start segmenting them and talking about them that way. So today is going to be Final Fantasy 10 through 15. And then throughout the series, we will be progressively working our way backwards.
Right, because there are, like you said, too many spin-offs, too many mainstays.
DLCs,
And for crying out loud, that's a lot to
animes,
talk about.
online games, comic books. Do they have comic? I'm sure they have to,
Yeah.
without a doubt, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Strategy guides, bed sheets. I got everything.
I would actually use Final Fantasy bed sheets.
Oh, I would totally.
I mean, I'd have to get rid of my All Real Ghostbusters bed sheets, but let's be honest, those are in desperate need
They've
of a
seen
changing.
better days, yeah.
They've seen better decades, Matt.
Yeah.
Like, let's really
Could you
call it what
imagine
it
a
is.
nice little chocobo feather
Mhm.
or chocobo feathered just mattress?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd feel
Or like
great.
getting in my bed and not hearing crunching noises every single time is really what I'd strike. Okay.
But Dan, to start it off,
Let's do it.
So, a little background here. I've been a diehard Final Fantasy nerd my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, however, has only dipped his toes in the water a little.
My left big toe is fully submerged, I'll have you know.
So, tell us which games you have actually played and or experienced
So
in any way, shape, or form.
I have 100%, well, I shouldn't say 100% completed because I've never done that.
I don't think you
I have
completed any of them.
beat Final Fantasy 15, which I'm told is the best out of the whole series.
It absolutely is.
It's just a 10 out of 10 game.
Who said 7 remake? Not me. 15's the goal.
So I played 15. I beat it. And then I've also played Final Fantasy 7, the original for PlayStation. But I always have to.
Where'd you get stuck?
I don't want to. I'll tell them.
I think I was
don't,
there.
Don't rush the
Okay,
story.
We'll get there. We'll get there on that episode. Wayne.
So Final Fantasy 7, I'll let y'all know. So I put it in, started playing it. Look, I was a little cloud in my little thing. I was running around on the train tracks, and I got to this scorpion boss. And
What is that
the scorpion comes out, and you got your team.
What?
And then it's like, hey, don't hit it when the tail's up. And I was like, all right, video game, don't tell me what to do. Like, I'm just
Because Dan's a strong, independent man.
Yeah,
He doesn't need no instructions.
I don't need, and so I kept attacking it, and like there was
When
a
the tail
lot
was
of
up.
like fanfare, and there was a lot. I was hitting it a
The
lot.
lights were seizing
And then
everywhere.
and then that took 20 minutes, and I quit, and I vowed never to go back.
Turns out a lot of game overs make you quit.
Yeah, and I was like, well, then this game doesn't care about me, so I don't care about it. And literally, I've never played it ever again. Like after that incident.
And that's your entire Final
That's
Fantasy.
all of my Final Fantasy. But being your friend for like 20 years now, Matt, like
yeah.
I think I know enough about Final Fantasy.
You've used Osmos
Yes,
on me.
yes.
Wink.
Yeah, I literally rub my
Or
head
drain.
on Matt at the beginning of every
Yeah.
single episode so that way I can get as much of his knowledge as possible.
Well, since you don't have so much knowledge, I made a fun little game for you and the audience at home.
Oh, hooray.
It's called Is This Plot Summary a Sci-Fi Channel Movie or a Final Fantasy Plot?
I'm so excited about this game. Because as much as I haven't played Final Fantasy, I've watched a lot of crappy
Now,
sci-fi
I will
movies,
say, with-
so I'm really excited.
With the plots, I did kind of dumb them down to fit a little more together,
Sure.
but they're still pretty much on par.
Okay.
So if you at home have played played said games, you will still understand and or get it. At
Okay.
least I think you will.
But I'm the one who's going to be answering. We'll give a
Oh,
little
yeah.
time for the people at home.
We'll do a little 4-second pause in
Okay.
between.
So so is it a Final Fantasy plot line?
Correct.
From 10 to 15?
Correct. Actually, it's going to be the Final Fantasy plotline can be from any of the main games.
Okay, so
1 through
this
15.
game,
Not the
is
online
all of the
ones, not
games.
tactics, which is a gold. But anyway,
got it.
but yeah.
What about
It's-
mobile games?
No.
What about PSP games?
No, but Crisis Core is amazing.
Which one's Dissidia on? I remember you were in
It's
love
on
with that game
multiple
for
things.
a straight one.
It's a great game. But no, it's not going to be any of the offshoots. It's
All right.
straight main series.
Then I'm ready to go.
Here we go. So
I
all I got to say is Final
promise-
Fantasy and then a number.
I promise to disappoint.
Because I don't expect you to get which one it is. Just if
Do
it's
I
Final
have to guess
Fantasy.
which actual?
No,
fi-
no,
oh,
no.
okay.
You would never be able
Whew.
to.
Okay.
So
good.
here we go.
Throw it at me.
A young man leads a group of teenage mercenaries against an evil time-traveling sorceress and her knight.
That's
Hold on. Nope, don't guess yet. 'Cause
Okay.
The other one you have to guess against is the other plot. Following the death of his father, a young prince must return home with his knight Aaron to reclaim his kingdom from a coven of witches.
okay.
Which one is the Final Fantasy and which one is the sci-fi?
All right. So I'm gonna say the one that has time travel in it is gonna be sci-fi.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say the second one about the guy coming home with his knight Aaron. Aaron? Was that a
Aaron.
name?
Aaron.
Aaron's.
You know, like a servant. Yeah.
Oh, got it. I thought you named the knight already. I was like, okay.
The knight named Aaron.
And I believe the second one
No
is
offense to Aaron's out there.
well, except for that one Aaron, but he knows what he did. I'm gonna say the second one is the sci-fi. No, the first one's sci-fi. The second one is Final Fantasy.
All right, we'll pause briefly. 3, 2. And you're completely wrong.
Yes.
The time
All right.
traveling sorceress with the teenage mercenaries is actually Final Fantasy VIII.
Okay. I didn't think there was a lot of time travel in these games.
Oh, buddy, buckle up. Final Fantasy
Well,
VIII, when we get there, is
you
going
know
to be
what?
a hayride of crazy.
And then says the man who played 15, where at the very end you just fast forward 10 years for no apparent reason.
oh, yeah.
Other
Perfect
than
example.
to make your character look more like Keanu Reeves and
Oh,
John
yeah,
Wick.
he really does look. I mean, he looks great at the
Oh,
end
it
of
looks
the game.
awesome, but you only get
the
to
rest
play
of
him
them
for
didn't
like,
look that great. A little worse for wear.
Yeah, I mean, he's fine.
And then the sci-fi movie that I was referring to is called Witchville.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The great hit movie Witchville.
Mhm.
All right, ready for your second one?
Okay.
Years after the fall of his hometown, a legendary hero returns from his self-exile to save his home from an evil tyrant.
That sounds boring.
Pause.
Okay.
The second one. After his parents were killed during an invasion by an evil tyrant,
Sure.
a warrior must fight back against said invading tyrant and his hellspawn
Oh,
as they threaten the land.
wait. So one has Hellspawn.
A
and
tyrant
his-
with hellspawn, and one's a hero coming back to fight a tyrant.
Okay, so tyrants in both of them.
Mhm.
Just a
One-
tyrant theme.
Right. One has a hero in exile coming back to stop said tyrant. The other one is being actively attacked by said tyrant.
Okay,
And didn't go into exile.
I'm gonna say the Hellspawn
Mhm.
is sci-fi,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna say the non-Hellspawn one is Final Fantasy.
Brief pause.
Brief
3,
pause. Brief pause.
2,
Anticipation.
1. Man, you're wrong again.
Oh.
The hellspawn is actually
Damn.
Final Fantasy 2
Okay. Sure.
because the Emperor in the second game is actually like, I don't know, somehow he goes to hell and comes back.
Sure.
The plot's, I actually like the plot in 2, but man, is it a little wonky. And then the movie was Merlin and the Book of Beasts.
Oh.
Was the hero
okay.
going in exile.
Sure. I missed that one.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
let's go to the I got 2 more here.
All right,
'cause
guys.
This game is real fun.
Not many people know this, but Matt has said before, if I actually get this one right, he will buy everyone a small Starbucks cappuccino.
Oh boy.
So just whenever you go to Starbucks, just say it's on Matt, and they'll know what that means.
they'll totally know. They'll be like, yeah,
Mm.
that guy who
Yeah.
totally comes here all the time.
Yeah,
With
so
not
just-
a very basic name.
If they fight you on it, just say no. He seemed very sure that he's paying for this.
Yeah,
today.
really put your hands on your hip and really point in their face.
Just really let him have it.
rail into them.
But don't be mean to your Starbucks baristas. Let's be honest. They go through a lot.
They do.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Last one.
Last one. A legendary monster threatens the land by going on a killing spree. A small group of unlikely heroes makes a desperate stand against said monster.
Sure.
And
It
then,
just seems so generic.
ready? Because the next one is a sports star from a futuristic metropolis gets swept up to another world and joins a group of clerics to stop a rampaging monster.
First of all, okay, I'm gonna make my guess here that the first one's got to be the Final Fantasy,
Okay.
and the second one's got to be a sci-fi because a futuristic
Mhm.
sport. No, wait. That's Final Fantasy X, isn't
Ah,
it?
he got
I
it.
knew it.
He
I was like,
finally got it.
I got it.
You can feel free to harass those baristas.
Yeah. Oh man,
Right? Look how close those plots were.
that
though.
just seemed so silly when
when
you really
boil
it
down the
down.
plots. Yeah, like And that's a great way to start with 10.
I guess I should have said I did play 10 for about 6 minutes.
Well, and spoilers coming up, obviously, for all these games.
Sure.
But in 10, it's not actually time travel. They just make you think that. It's kind of like a bait and switch in the beginning.
Is that the one where the whole, like, you play as Titus? Titus.
Well, yeah, because it gets confusing because I remember people called him Titus, but then when you play Kingdom Hearts, another great franchise.
Which we may do an episode about.
Oh, absolutely.
If I can ever get through Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, I gotta get through that one.
Okay. Anyways,
But-
keep going. Or not to mention the 9 million games in between.
Yeah, I've only played like a handful of the Game Boy ones, but like, yeah, a Titus, however you want to say it. Like, yeah, essentially, he thinks he's been traveled through the future.
Okay.
And everything's like gone back, like backwards, kind of technology wise. And you find out like this giant monster named Sin, who's actually like a shell of some other being / armor weapon.
And of course,
destroying
spoiler
stuff.
alerts, I guess
Yeah.
we need to say
Oh, I
for a
already
game
did.
that's been out for like,
Yeah.
but like
30 years.
Doesn't
spoiler,
Titus like he's
2000.
not real? He's like a figment.
Yeah.
And
so
And
essentially,
the
he comes
Sin's
from,
his dad.
yeah. So he comes from Xanarkin, which is like
Sure.
it's an echo of a city that used to be there out in the middle of the ocean.
Echo of a city, of course.
Yeah. So he's real, but
In
he's
the
not.
ocean.
Like
This is crazy.
that's my main problem when I played 10 for the first time was like the plot was kind of confusing.
Sure.
And you got to really play through it like multiple times to really understand. And even then, it's still kind of like, okay.
Mm-hmm. See,
yeah,
and,
he's real, but he's not. But
I think deep down, that's why when I played 15, I had a great time playing it because the plot, although in the last little bit gets a little like what just happened, but
Right.
for the most part, you're just like you're a royal prince, you're out doing some shenanigans, and then your hometown gets blown to Kingdom Come, and then you're just figuring out what to do next and trying
Right.
to marry a girl. But aren't we all? You know?
Whereas in 10, it's the complete opposite because your town starts out getting blown up.
Yeah.
And then you think you get shot in the future, but reality, you're just kind of like in a ghosty type thing or whatever. And then like, yeah, you end up on this beach with a bunch of people. And by the way, my favorite thing too, like re-looking at the material,
Mhm.
I totally forgot. As soon as Waka finds, he finds like Riku on the boat, and they're like,
Sure.
hey, help us German / whatever Albed people. Because I mean, they're kind of like German.
Sure.
whatever.
I everything you're saying is new to me. I'm just nodding and smiling. at
Oh, you
this
don't
point.
remember that part?
No.
Oh,
I got to an underwater time.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I got there.
Yeah, that's the first part. Is you're on the boat with them, and they make you go underwater to help salvage stuff, but then you get like separated from them
but
because the sin monster thingy attacks.
sure. But fun fact about me, I don't like any. I don't care for any video games that make me play an underwater level. Like if I'm always underwater, that's fine. But I hate it when I have to like switch, like the not graphics, but like physics on how I move and up and down and everything. Like I'm just never a big fan of those kind
Yeah,
of.
it's a really hard learning curve with a lot of
I-
water levels.
I blame Donkey Kong Country.
I thought you were gonna blame Zelda
No,
for the water. stuff.
I was
But
a
Donkey Kong
master
Country?
at Donkey
Okay.
Kong Country, and then you hit those water levels, and you got to relearn how to use the controls. And
See, I think I bounced pretty well on Donkey Kong because that was Super Nintendo era and all that.
sure,
But like the first like nightmarish water level for me as a gamer was the NES version of Ninja Turtles.
oh
Where you
okay,
have to play as the turtles, obviously, and you go like under a dam, and you
okay,
have to defuse these bombs that the Foot Clan put underneath there. But you have to like go up and rewire them, and every single up and down on the walls on the cave of the area,
Yeah.
is covered in this electric coral.
why wouldn't it be?
Oh, sure, why not?
I mean, if you're
in a
gonna
regular
plant-
lake dam or something,
If
yeah.
you're going to plant bombs in a dam, you better well put electric coral around them.
You gotta
I've
protect it.
I have said this time and time again.
Actually,
Matt.
you
what
have
have
it
I?
written-
How
I'm
many
looking at
times
my
have I
notes,
said
you have it
this?
written down.
If
At least
all
8.
else fails, at least put the electric coral.
I
Like
know.
oh.
Because
get-
and not to mention, as soon as you touch it, your health bar literally goes to like half.
Oh, it's electric coral. First of all,
It's
you shouldn't touch
ridiculous.
coral in the first place, let
Yeah,
alone.
play that and you'll have PTSD on water levels forever because
I'm
it's
telling
just
you.
insanely hard.
Okay.
But anyway,
So, going back to
my favorite part though.
Yeah.
Like you get separated from Riku in the ship because of Sin, and then you end up on the beach with Yuna's area. And the first thing you do is you run into Waka, who does what, Dan?
I'm sure.
Bashes you in the head with a freaking blitz ball. He goes, "Hey man, what's up?" It's like, dude, you could have killed me. I almost drowned
like,
in the water.
I could be very concussed, and the first thing you throw at me is a ball to the head.
like at least a volleyball in weight. Like
and I just the only thing I really remember about Waka is
Oh,
a
jeez.
real strong mohawk.
Yep.
and he had that Bret Michaels bandana,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Where you just
that bright, like blue, yeah.
like just too big of a bandana. Like tone down the bandana kind of thing.
Oh man, and that's kind of what I would break these games down to is with every Final Fantasy, there's always like the core things you got to look for, which is like, did it add any gameplay mechanics? Is the story good? Because that's what Final Fantasy is all about.
Sure.
The characters, obviously.
Yeah.
Music, like you got all these.
The music.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start with music with 10.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think you've really delved too much, but I can tell you pretty much all the music in 10 is amazing.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say recently. A couple years ago, you and some friends of ours went to the symphony
Oh, correct.
that
yeah.
hosted, like, it was just a pure Final Fantasy night.
Correct.
Or was it a specific game, or was it?
Oh no, they just kind of did
Jumped around?
I think it was Distant Lands or something like that. It
Sure.
was the name of but yeah, they jumped around every game.
Now, on that, was there like a video that they played
Yes.
in the back? Okay.
Yeah, they would play clips from the game as well as, and then for well, they
No.
didn't actually play them. They just had
No, I just-
highlight reels.
I just
yeah.
thought of like the highlight reels of like gameplay, but it was like me playing in the background. So it's like this
Oh, that would be
beautiful
terrible.
music and just somebody like constantly dying
Actually-
and falling off cliffs. And
Actually, the best part would be if they had the clips, but it was actually people just in battle, so you
Yeah.
had to wait for their turns, not just like the CGI.
or they just like the conductor throws out a controller to somebody in the audience
You!
and they have to play during that entire game.
in the sweat, like,
Like,
oh no, I'm
no
in front of all
pressure.
these people.
And if you die, you get thrown out.
And it's not even like a good. It's like a good combat system. It's like Final Fantasy 2, where
Was-
you have to level up by getting hit.
Hey, that's called experience. Okay.
Oh no, that game is all about the hard experience.
That's what life is like on the streets. And don't you forget it. Okay.
Well, that is Final Fantasy 2.
But
in a
we're not
nutshell.
talking about that. We're doing
Correct.
10 to 15.
Back to 10 though.
Okay, so real
Music,
quick.
fantastic.
Music fantastic. Gameplay seemed
Gameplay-
fine.
So the gameplay in 10 is definitely one of the best because they give you the sphere grid.
I was going to bring up the sphere grid. I
And
remember. So when you do
man.
not to interrupt you, I'm
Yeah,
so sorry,
go
but
ahead.
you do the tutorial right,
Yeah.
and it goes like, and this is the sphere grid, and then I just remember it like zoomed out, and I was like, it just was so huge. I was like, I'm already out. Like this is too big. Nope. Like I get overwhelmed very easily in these games, and it's just like, oh, there's no way I'm doing this. And I think I put the controller down. It's like, and underwater level, yeah. I'll just wait until Matt tells me how great this game was.
Oh man, wait till we get to 12 because 12 took the sphere grid and went, hold my beer. we're gonna up the ante. 'Cause
Nice.
With the sphere grid in 10, you could pretty much make any character what you wanted, which is cool. But they kind of wink wink go down this path. Nudge,
And now
nudge.
the sphere grid's kind of here to stay, though, right? Because I slightly remember a sphere
Mm.
grid in 15, or am I misremembering?
I think you're it's kind of like it, but not really.
Okay.
It's kind of got the soul of it, I guess.
Okay. But it's been years since I played that
Right.
game anyway, so.
No, it's kind of got the idea of it, but no, I don't think it's an actual sphere grid. 'Cause
Mhm.
like 10 and 12, they both literally, like you said, here's a circle, here's a
Yeah.
sphere, zoom out.
I just remember going,
Wow.
there's absolutely no way.
It almost looks like a star chart.
And I guess I really have issues where it's like, I want to be able to do everything. If I sink enough time in this game, I should be able to like conquer everything. Like we
Right.
talked about with Diablo. Like if you play enough, you can unlock every single skill.
Right.
But you wouldn't use them all, of course. That would be silly. You like make sure
Is
certain
it,
ones.
though?
Well, you only have so many hotkeys. But like whenever I saw something that big, I was like, oh, I'm out. Like I won't be able to do it all. That's why I just recently played the Spider-Man game on
Right.
PlayStation 5. And like if you beat the game and do all the extra stuff, you are completely maxed out in your skill tree.
Wow.
You've unlocked everything. You are now the fullest potential of your character.
Hmm.
And I like that because I feel like the achievement of like, okay, I am
Oh,
now
yeah, definitely.
100% the Spider-Man. I have all the moves.
I am the Spider-Man.
But like in Final Fantasy, like you never get to be
I
the
think
pinnacle person.
I think eventually you can, or at least the pinnacle in your class.
Sure.
I don't think I ever myself tried to max out the 1 in 10 because that is, a daunting
Coward.
task.
Coward.
I'm sorry, but like when it came on to the next point, the plot.
Okay, the plot.
didn't
Okay,
really
moving on.
It didn't grip me as much, so I didn't want to, spend all my time on the game. Not to mention back to the gameplay.
Yeah.
It's just a very linear game, and I think that's what a lot of people were mad about when it
Sure.
first came out too. Was most Final Fantasies, like you were saying, I want to explore the world.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to do everything. This
Mhm.
one, meh. Get on that railroad and choo choo.
See, and I'm gonna keep going back to this game because it's my only point of reference. I
Yay.
knew deep down I was going to love Final Fantasy 15 when I started up the game and it made me push a car. for about 20 minutes.
Is it sad? That's
with
actually
my
one of my
friends.
favorite parts.
Well, I mean, and as stupid as it is, I like the dialogue to a certain degree because
Oh, the dialogue's great.
because it kind of sets you up with the dialogue for the rest of the game.
Oh yeah.
Like there's tons of times in like the voice acting is so bad that it's amazing.
hey,
Like
and that goes back to 10 too.
oh, we're going yeah, just and at times like their mannerisms of saying these things and you're just like that was awful and I can't wait to hear it again.
Right. And that takes us back to 10.
Yeah.
Like, as you know, with that one scene that shall not be mentioned.
Matt actually forbid me from mentioning this scene before we even started the podcast.
But I think if you're watching this if you're listening to this or what have you, everybody knows what we're talking about.
I think
it's been talked about.
It's
to death.
basically a meme now, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's one of those
or
things
a
where, like,
GIF.
if you love the game, it's one of those things like it's supposed to be awkward, it's supposed to be fun.
Mhm.
But if you were like me and you're like, I get it, but come on, reel it in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did like 10 that I did play because there's what I assume is a beast. Hank McCoy's in it. And I saw him and I was really excited that, the Marvel universe is finally getting its crack
absolutely.
into the Final Fantasy universe.
Right.
And with my last name as McCoy, whenever I see Hank McCoy and other things, I just get genuinely excited.
And I'm so glad Disney let
It's
Square and all
about
them
time.
use.
It's like way
Marvel
before this
care.
whole Disney, merger thing happened. So
And he's just as poignant with his speech in that one too. It's so perfect. They
Yeah.
nailed him.
okay.
I loved when they gave Beast a horn on his forehead too.
Yeah. I was like, weird character development choice, but who am I to judge?
And let's use that to go into the characters.
Square Enix has made millions of dollars today. They're gonna make millions
They're gonna
tomorrow.
make
They're
more.
gonna they make good decisions.
I mean, let's be
people.
honest, they just print their money at this point.
At this point, it's all Square Enix money.
They just put a little cloud stamp on the money and just print it.
Okay, so what's up next?
So let's transition into characters. Since you were
Characters,
talking
got it.
about obviously they have Beast from X-Men.
Sure, we got Beast from X-Men.
That is probably one of my only complaints about the game. I really love that character.
Mhm.
He's like
What's his actual name?
Kamari.
Kamari. Got it.
But essentially, he's like the Dragoon of the series, which is the job class where you jump and do stuff and have blue magic most of the time.
Mhm.
But like, I've always loved Dragoons and like blue mages and stuff,
Okay,
which does monster magic and whatnot.
of course. Sure.
But like, I don't know, just kind of a meh
Meh.
storyline for him. He's like, people don't like me, my people do like me at the end.
I just remember Big Goo Sphere Daddy was really, really scary. He would just show up every once in a while.
Oh, I think I know who you're
That's
talking
Sin, right? Is that his name? He was just a big ball.
about. Well,
that
he's
just,
kind of like a giant whale.
yeah, just showed up to stop people having fun.
Yeah. So
Real Debbie Downer. Real Debbie Downer of a boss him.
right.
Or her.
I don't. Well, I guess it's a him because it turns out to be like Titus or Titus. I don't want to say Titus, but I know
We'll just switch it around.
yeah. We'll just keep
Everyone at
switching.
home can correct us
because
every time we
there's
say
so many
the wrong
names
thing.
in these games that you can just say either other way.
There's
and
never
which
like
way.
a Mark or like a Paul.
Wrong.
See? Dang it.
Final Fantasy 2 has a Paul.
You nerd.
and a Maria. And
Okay.
a Gus.
Sure. Keep it up. You're doing great. And a Ringo.
There's even a Bart's in 5.
a Bart's?
Bart's.
Like more than one Bart?
No,
or
it's
like
just-
one character with
His
an S
name
at
is
the end of
just
his name?
plural for
Oh, he's just that was the biggest. Like, what if we plural his name? Brilliant. Write that down.
Oh, all right, Bart's. There's more.
Okay, but staying
yeah, anyway.
on 10 to 15, Matt.
10 to 15. Because let's face it. So Sin essentially is like Titus's father merged in with this beast that is actually an armor shell / weapon casing for this thing called U-Yevon.
Okay.
See where the plot gets kind of weird?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That
And
sounds
so I'm just going to boil down the plot for you real quick.
okay.
Sin essentially is used by U-Yevon to take
And
out
who's you, Yevon?
essentially like this. I think he's one of those like summoner. It's been so long. He's like a summoner thing.
Is he like the main bad guy?
Yeah, he's the main bad guy.
Oh, okay, copy.
I think he's just like this overall entity that's grown into a certain
Just a
level of power.
real jerk of a person.
Kind of,
right?
yeah. So
Okay.
whenever a town gets to a certain point of civilization gets to a point of like technology that's able to actually do something that disturbs him, he's like, oh no, wipe it out.
Oh, so he's a reaver.
Essentially like a Reaper from Mass Effect.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Like-
want you to get to his prize, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like
They
those
wait until you
cities
reach
anarch.
to a certain like socio-cultural point,
Correct.
and then you do like, "Hey, look, we made
And that's
this." He's
why
like,
when you
"That's
get to
great.
the mainland,
Time
everything's
to burn
all
it all
like,
to the ground,
"Oh."
start fresh."
Right.
Got it. Okay.
And that's essentially your job is to go around and do that. And Yuna's whole quest is going around getting these Aeon / Espers / summons
Now,
to go around and stop him because the final one essentially does the job.
So at what game do they switch the turn-based? When does it turn into the hack and slash?
So essentially, 10 still did the regular sphere grid turn-based, but the thing they also added with the turn-based was you could switch out your party members at will.
Oh,
which
okay.
was very nice.
Mid-battle?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, baby.
I feel like that's something you should lock down. You shouldn't be able to do that mid-battle.
I feel like it was a great idea.
Or like at the beginning of the battle, you should be able to choose your 4.
It does feel a little
halfway
easy mode.
through the battle, I shouldn't be able to like switch out for somebody else.
Oh, another aspect of these games we should also mention is the side quests, because that's a huge part of Final Fantasy as well.
Side quests?
Side quests.
Okay.
And this one has tons of them. They're great. They're definitely worth doing.
Sure.
I'm not going to get into all of them because we got to get to 4 more games here. But
there is absolutely no way we're going to get through all these games.
Oh, yes, there are, because 2 of them are going to be real quick.
Okay.
Looking at you, 11 and 14. But, but anyway, we're pretty much done with 10 at this point. Really, the only thing I would change about 10, because overall, I didn't enjoy it like as nearly as much as the other ones.
Sure.
It still has a pretty solid story as long as you don't look too hard at it.
Okay. But I feel like that's any Final Fantasy game. And again, I haven't played a lot of them, but like they somewhat fall apart under close inspection. They are to be viewed from afar and admired as a whole.
Some of them.
Got it.
Some of them.
Got
because yeah, 10 for sure
but
is
Matt,
one of those.
If it's before 10, we're not talking about
correct.
Them.
But as of 10, that's kind of one thing is like, make it a little more clear on what's going on. It's a little, and loosen up on the linear thing.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, I agree. I got to agree with most people on that. Like, it did feel like a diet version of a Final Fantasy almost.
Okay.
A little too easy at times.
Well, that's why I loved 15, because after like you take you talk to your dad and he's like, you go have a fun old time.
You kids take the car and have a day.
Oh, that car. And then eventually the car could fly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was weird.
And then like you could only land it on the road. So like I ended up just crashing every single time. Where I was like, maybe this car can't fly.
But yeah, anyway, back to 10 to finish it off.
We're all over the place. I love it.
Yeah. Just like the plot to 13.
I don't get that reference.
You will.
Okay.
But anyway, 10, the only thing I'd fix is definitely open up the linearness.
Okay.
Like make it a little more open world. Give us some exploration for crying out loud.
You should. The one thing that I do know that people value out of most Final Fantasies is there is a massive open world kind of feel to it.
You get to feel like you're really
like
going out in the
even
world.
in 15, Pop says go, and then I mean it's just I go. I mean,
right.
You of course. Hey, maybe you should check out that next little town over there. And so you go there and you meet the people there and then they give you quests. But really, you can start going anywhere you want. Now, you're going to find like enemies that are way higher level than you. Don't get me wrong.
And you're going to get wrecked.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Fallout when you go into New Vegas and like,
I can't do it.
Hey, don't go north because there's death claws.
Again, I don't like being told what to do. The first thing I want to do is go north
and
now.
have a good time.
Which one did I play? I played, what's the one where you're in the vault? And then, so your dad, is that 4?
Oh, that's 3, where you start in the vault and your dad's the head scientist.
Yeah, and so then like someone kills your dad,
Washington,
and then
DC.
Yeah, I remember, and we're jumping all over the games too. But I remember they opened the vault, and the game's like, okay, now go, and I was like, okay, where? And it's like, no, you can go wherever you want. I was like, that's too big for me, and I just put the controller down and walked away.
Shut the vault door right.
I was just like, I like being contained and being told what to do to a certain degree, so we're just gonna kick it here.
No.
Everything just looks so scary and gray. Like,
well, that was kind of the point.
That's the whole point.
But yeah, as far as that, like I said, linear thing, and honestly, the only other issue I really had with it, I don't know, Waka was just absurdly annoying to me.
Yeah,
I just could not stomach that character.
So, were you a big fan of in Kingdom Hearts when you got to smack the ball right in his dumb face?
Absolutely. Like, just his personality. I think there's even a scene in the game where like you first see Sin destroy a town, and he's sitting there like laughing or something on the coast. I'm like, dude, all these people just died. She's literally doing a dance over there to send their souls.
Like, read the room, bro.
Yeah, seriously, that's like walking to a
T.
Read the room, buddy.
Just figure it out, man.
All the other characters are fine, but like, I don't know. Waka just rubs you the wrong way.
Okay.
But other than that, just little minor things here and there, but really just open the world up more. Do something to fix the plot, like confusion a little.
Oh, game we haven't mentioned yet. How did you feel about 10-2?
Oh, geez. You mean the dress-up game?
Yeah. I know a lot of people that genuinely like that game.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think we shouldn't call it the dress-up game. They just used costumes as powers,
it was
right?
A blatantly fanfare type, like, look what we're doing.
I get it, but some people really, really like that game.
And that's fine. It just...
Teach their own, sure.
To me, it was a very, once again, like a diet version of Final Fantasy, because it's kind of like it almost felt like a Mass Effect 1 like dungeon crawl where the dungeons
Really?
were pretty much the same. Yeah, there's
Okay.
a lot of. It's just a weird.
Was it
game
a
overall.
full game?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
and like the point of it, spoiler for you, Dan, is at
I
the
won't be
end.
playing it,
So
don't worry.
at the end of 10, like Titus turns out to not be real, but
Yeah,
kinda,
yeah.
and then he disappears into the aether
Yeah,
after
yeah.
like stopping the big baddie.
Got it.
And this one, it's like all about trying to get him back, but only if you did the 100%, and maybe he comes back. I don't know. It's
I know Tiff
weird.
Tiff at one point made me watch a bunch of the cutscenes from 10-2.
right.
And like you think it's, and again, I'm just going back on flashes of memory.
Yeah.
Like they make you think that it's supposed to be Titus that she's remembering the
Yeah,
entire time,
but it's really like some past life.
but it's
thing.
like, yeah, and
yeah.
like I'm good.
Because I didn't play it, but my cousin Christopher did, and I watched him play it, and I'm like, okay,
Sure.
I mean, kudos to them for bringing the job class back because I love the job system in these
Okay.
games. But like, and Payne's a great character, the new one they brought in, that new chick. But like, I don't know.
Okay.
Not my thing.
I just remember they showed up as 3 like fairies in Kingdom Hearts.
Right. That was kind of disappointing.
I was like, okay.
Really? Payne? Okay.
Whatever floats
Yeah,
your
I
boat.
was like, okay, it's
Hey,
Kingdom Hearts.
they got paid. They had some speaking lines. Okay, they got bank.
Look, I'm just happy my boy Sid Highwind showed up as the shopkeeper. That's what made me happy.
Okay. Well,
Kingdom Hearts.
Sid is, hey, ready for
He's
this?
a staple.
Sid is the guy who's in every single game except for like 2.
Where did he start, Dan? Which Final Fantasy?
Oh.
What Final Fantasy gave us the Sid and
See, Matt, you do this all the time. No,
and
you
Chocobos?
start
Chocobo.
you
Chocobo.
throw questions that you know the answer to that you know I don't have any
The
idea.
correct answer is Final Fantasy 2.
Was it I was actually going to say 2.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Just
Okay.
not the first game. They've been
Yep.
in ever since.
Chocobos?
Chocobos and Sid.
Which one has the metal song about chocobos? Like, do you want to ride a chocobo?
What was that? That was
Is that 15? I feel like it'd be in 15.
no, it's not 15. It's
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness, I should know that because I thought it was.
Ladies
the
and gentlemen,
best-
ladies
Oh,
and gentlemen,
no.
I done stumped him.
He done stumped
I
me.
got him.
Come back to me on that one. I'll get back to it.
I'm not gonna, but that's
But
fine.
anyway, that's about 10 to wrap
All right.
that up.
So
Now
but-
let's quickly go through
yeah,
the MMOs.
tell me why we're kind of gracing over 11 and 14.
So 11 and 14, the big problem with them is they are MMOs, and it's kind of not
Oh,
really.
okay.
Yeah. So as you can see, they're not really RPGs. Well,
Okay.
they're RPGs. I shouldn't say that. But, multiplayer, they have a whole different feel to them.
Okay.
And they're, to do a quick comparison, because I only
Quickly compare them.
I did a brief game stint with 11
Okay.
back when it was first around.
Is that the lightning and ice
No,
and fire?
Nope, get that all. That's 13.
Ah,
Close.
swing and a miss
Look
again.
at you. You were getting good.
I have knowledge about Final Fantasy. It's just putting it where it needs to go that I'm just awful at.
But no, 11 it felt very much like EverQuest Dragon Age to me.
Okay.
It's not a bad game. It has a lot of flaws with like slow gameplay
Okay.
and like apparently there was a big issue too. I didn't play long enough, but where like they let the Japanese players and the English players at the same time. So there's a lot of translation errors and people were like getting annoyed
okay,
with each
got it.
other. Yeah. So like there was some pretty big issues there. And
Yeah.
just slow. But
Okay.
overall it wasn't terrible. 14, it was terrible for the first.
And
like,
that's the
half
one
of
that's
its life.
blowing up right now.
Oh, it's blowing up right now. Yeah.
Okay.
In the year of our Lord 2022.
God bless it.
But that's because they said, oops, sorry, let's redo everything. They had like a great reset with their DLC
Okay.
or something like that.
The great resetting.
So I know a bunch of people playing it right now. I dabbled. I made a character on my friend's account and it's actually amazing.
I even heard like at a certain point, certain servers weren't allowing new people
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Like World of
Well-
Warcraft tanked or something like
Well,
that.
it's because
and everyone
there
jumped
was a
over.
mass exodus from Warcraft that into 14
Mm-hmm.
while everybody was waiting for another MMO to come out.
What's that MMO that we're waiting
I
for?
can't remember the name of it.
The Elder is that
Elden
gonna-
Ring is more of a Dark Souls one they're making.
Got it.
I can't remember the name of it, but like there was like 1 or 2 new MMOs coming out. Everybody was waiting for, so they all went to 14,
Got it.
and they just were like, "All right, we're gonna make new content. We're making new stuff." And
Oh, cool.
Dan, the music from 14, you would love.
Oh, really? Is it done by Coheed and Cambria, the greatest band
Actually,
of all time?
it is. It's all.
You're
of it.
lying to me.
Claudio did every single
Don't
voice.
play, Matt.
He
you
sings-
know I take these things
He voices
very
all the
serious.
Moogles in the.
Oh, see, now I know you're lying. He would
But
be
no,
a
the-
main character. He wouldn't be a Moogle. Don't play me like this.
Sometimes the Moogle is a main character, like in Final Fantasy VI. Greatest Final Fantasy of them all.
Which one's the greatest?
6.
6? Well, that's not 10 through 15, so we're not
Oh my
talking
goodness,
about it
you're
right
All
now.
But I can't really speak on how to fix 11 or 14 or what I would like to change because it's too different.
Yeah.
It's too different.
Okay.
And, honestly, there's a lot of good in them.
Okay.
So-
Oh, hey. Well, So why don't we?
Very preferency.
So we're gonna have to kind of jump to break real quick. When we get back, we're gonna be talking about the story of 15. Is that what we're gonna come back to?
So real quick, when we get back, we will gloss over 13 because that is just a mess, and then we'll jump right into the final one with Dan. 15.
Okay. All right. But just to let you guys know, I just got a telegram.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah. Morse code actually.
Wait, did you get some Magnet letters?
I don't get that reference. Oh, it's a Final Fantasy thing.
There we go.
Is that the?
He just now saw my
Got
nod.
it. Wait, were you the one saying yesterday how it's ridiculous that they have to have letters when they're all essentially like psychically linked?
So, fun fact, everybody. In Final Fantasy 9, and I believe in Final Fantasy 3, there's a side quest
The
called
Final Fantasies we're not talking about
the
today.
ones we're not talking about.
Got it.
They they have a U.S. postal type system called Magnet, where it's a side quest where you deliver mail. However, somewhere in the ether of the lore, written down somewhere or in another game, what have you, like their first appearance, they specifically, I think it's actually in 2, where they say like the little antennae ball thing they have on their head, they can actually telepathically communicate with each other.
Oh.
So why am I delivering your mail when you can just talk to each other via Charles Xavier?
Sometimes the written letter just has more personal flavor to it.
All right, touche.
Okay.
Well played.
Okay.
Hey there, podcast listeners. I am David,
And I'm Kate.
and together we host a podcast that you might be interested in if you like The Legend of Zelda.
There are lots of awesome podcasts out there and a lot of awesome Zelda podcasts out there.
That's right, Kate, and we are another one of them. In fact, that is the name of our show, Another Zelda Podcast.
And in our show in particular, we talk about some of our favorite dungeons, characters, boss battles. We do a couple top 10 lists here and there.
We have some deep dive episodes, and we even pepper in a couple quiz episodes.
We talk about our own experiences. We do some review episodes, talk about our challenges, our struggles, and our victories.
That's right. If it has to do with The Legend of Zelda, we talk about it.
You can check out our episodes on our website, anotherzeldapodcast.com.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and a lot of the other podcast services that are out there.
And you can also check out our episodes on our website, anotherzeldapodcast.com.
All right, we will see you there.
Okay, bye.
Tonberry tater tots. So sharp and delicious, one bite and you'll die from delight.
Jake, have you ever been looking for a definitive Nintendo ranking and can't seem to find it because it's just everybody's own opinion?
Honestly, all the time, Sam.
Well, I'm looking for someone to give us the answers.
Wait, you mean like a podcast made by two young, handsome men where they create a definitive top 5 list of all things Nintendo?
Should we just do it ourselves?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Let's give it a shot. I'm Sam,
And I'm Jake.
and at Top 5 Nintendo, I'm going to give you my top 5 list,
And I'm gonna give you my top 5 list.
and then we're going to duke it out and see what the real top 5 is.
All right, everyone, we're back.
Back again.
Before you ask, yes, I went ahead and rubbed my head all over Matt's chest one more time just to get
it
all
all.
of the Final Fantasy knowledge that I can.
As you were saying, you drew some magic from me.
Oh, God.
Now junction it to your brain.
So I play fantasy football, and like
Not the
whenever
same.
I know, but wait, there's a connection. We'll get there. But like whenever we're playing, I keep on calling it Final Fantasy football, and I'm like, oh yeah, last night my Final Fantasy football. That's incorrect. So
Just like Blitzball and Ted. Except, water and not really water. And I don't know. You can
also
hold your breath for
entertain.
30 minutes. That's not the Blitzball physics really make me mad too. But we're moving
moving on. So I believe we are now at the
Pinnacle
pinnacle
of all Final Fantasies.
13.
13.
And now, is this the lightning one?
This is lightning
This
and
is
snow.
lightning and snow and rain
Jin
and
Snow.
thunder.
Actually, Dan, it's lightning, snow,
Sure.
Saz, something like that. Hope
Locusts.
and vanilla. Or vanille.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God. I was like, please tell me there's a character named Vanilla.
No, but let me tell you, Hope and Vanille,
Hope and Vanille.
some of the worst characters I've ever seen in a Final Fantasy.
I don't know. I did play one that had a Millie and a Vanilli. So that was a pretty interesting. But turns out they didn't even cast their own spells.
Dan, can you
It was
do me a
somebody else
favor?
the whole time?
I'm gonna pull in your Final Fantasy knowledge. Can you do me a favor before
my
we
God.
talk about 13?
Yeah, I would love to. Let's do it.
Can you paint me the scene of Final Fantasy 7, the beginning, the first thing you see in Final Fantasy 7?
A train.
What else?
Rain.
What do the characters look like on the
Oh,
train?
they're like really bad graphics. Well, I mean, good for the time, but you know.
Well, you've played a little of the remake too, which
Oh, the remake's
So,
gorgeous.
remake is the very same intro. so
Gorgeous.
who is it's a black gentleman named
Jax.
Barrett.
No, Jax is the dude from Mortal Kombat that
Yeah,
I always
that's-
mix him up with.
Jax is Mortal Kombat.
I'm
And
sorry.
then the white
Like
guy's name is Cloud.
Cloud. But also
one has a sword, one has a
arms.
a
The metal
gun,
arms,
a
right?
arm gun.
Arm guns. Does he have 2 guns or is it just 1 gun?
Just the one.
Just one.
He lost one hand,
Got it.
which is actually a really good story.
I'm
But
doing
anyway,
great.
We're not talking about
I'm
those.
doing great right
You're doing
now.
Great.
Doing so great.
Doing great.
Okay, what's up?
But anyway, as you remember, it starts on a train.
Starts on a train.
Both people there. One dude has a sword. One has a gun.
Got it.
They go off and
Mhm.
they're doing a missionary.
And
or a
Tifa's
missionary.
there,
They're doing
right?
a mercenary mission.
She's there too. In the remake, she's there.
Yes, she is.
And then 2 other people,
Jesse and
Frank.
no.
Well, no, because
Wade.
Jesse's on that vacation far away.
Oh my god.
I'm so proud of myself right now.
But anyway, do you want to know how 13 starts?
Yes.
You're on a train
with a person with a sword
and one with a
and
gun.
one with a gun.
Another black guy with a gun and a white chick with a sword.
Okay.
Feels a little plagiarism-y, huh?
Well, you can't get in trouble for plagiarizing yourself, right?
I mean, it's the
And
same
if-
company,
And
so I
if
doubt it.
anything, they're like, well, 7 worked really well. Let's
So-
just lather, rinse, repeat that whole.
So right out the gate of 13, we're already recycling material.
Okay.
To a degree.
Is there a giant corporation that has been stealing like essence from the planet and pumping
Might
it
as
into?
well, yeah. I mean, it's a government.
Okay, sure.
So
Final Fantasy's real anti-government.
the real anti-religion and real anti-government.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good for them. It's about
mainly
time video
empires.
games took a stance on these very political things.
Mainly empires. They really don't like empires.
Okay. So, plot of 13.
Yeah,
Boil it
so-
down quickly as you can.
Oh,
You
God.
have 4
So
hours ago.
The main problem with this game is the wording and phrasing.
Really? Just translation?
No, just in general.
Oh.
There's like Elsia, Falsia, like
God bless you.
everything's way too close together in sound and like
Are we
language.
talking
Just saying
like
it.
are we talking about names, spells,
Sure,
like in
all of it?
so just the entire lexicon of the
Yeah,
game
I'll
is
go ahead
bad.
and start you out. Essentially, I'm going to boil it down to its most prime thing.
Got it.
There's people turning into crystals and then monsters and out of crystal and then back to crystal. They're trying to drop a essentially Death Star moon-based thing onto a planet,
Sure.
but crystal power stops it with a Voltron mixed in there. It's all over the place.
I don't know. You've been pooping on 13 and everything you're saying sounds literally fantastic.
And Lightning, the main
And then you
character-
dropped a Voltron reference?
Well, what's funny too is like back to the 7 reference.
Okay.
I hate to compare it, but Lightning is like they tried so hard to make Lightning like Cloud. It's ridiculous.
I mean, Cloud and Lightning are basically
Oh my
the
goodness.
same kind of name.
You're right.
Cloud makes
And
lightning.
Snow is kind of like he reminds me of like Chad Vega from Mass Effect.
Okay, so
He's
useless
just very
and
bro.
boring,
He's a bro.
but voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr.
We wish.
Oh, that'd make it cool.
Actually, the voice acting's great. The visuals are great. The music's all right.
Okay.
But the story is just the biggest problem with that. And that's the one thing I think everybody, I mean, even the people that love it are like, well, you got to read the dossiers that you find. I don't want extra material if I don't have to
Like,
fix the main story.
I like games that don't make me do homework.
Right.
You know, and like, so I'll read some things. I got it. But like, there's a certain point where it's just too much.
And that's what this game feels like. It's just too much. And that's just to briefly go over it because it's very convoluted, very confusing.
Okay.
It's just, and the gameplay too is kind of like, I will praise the gameplay a little bit.
Okay.
It's not good, but it is the back.
I'll praise it. It's not good.
It's not, but it is the
that's praise
backbone.
that Matt gets from
It's
this game.
the backbone and, you know, the Godfather that leads into 15s, which is a little bit better, but we'll get into that. But it does kind of revolutionize the thing that they tried to do in 12 as well.
Okay.
Because 12 was when you first started getting that live action kind of moving
I was going to
around
say,
stuff.
so when does the official jump
That's like
happen?
the backbone of the idea of it. And you
Because-
have like a gambit system in 12 where like you can like give people different tactics to do on the field and
Okay.
you move around. That's where it kind of all started.
Yeah, because
13 kind of made it a little better.
Yeah,
But
and, I mean, 15 was cool because you could tweak what everyone's supposed to be doing, and at any point you could jump to that character. From what I remember, like there was
you can jump to them, you cannot play as them.
unless you die, in which
Unless you
case you can
die.
play as them.
Right, but then again, 15 was such a joke of a combat system, it's hard to...
15 wasn't a joke.
Dan, you can literally hold down the attack button and win.
But
Oh, spoiler. You can just hold down the attack I know.
Hey, not if you're facing that giant turtle thing.
Actually, people have done it and there's videos.
Ugh.
How sad
Why
is
do you
that?
always have to take away my achievements?
Womp
I beat a
womp.
Final Fantasy game, and it's like, you held the attack button down to win, didn't you? It's like, well, yeah, but
I know.
I mean, I tried.
because I thought. Well, and we'll get to that in a second. But back to 13 real quick.
okay,
That's the biggest problem. Is just fix all of that story. What is going on?
okay.
The names are too close together. The plot's all over the place.
And
Motivations.
you
are all
don't
over the
think it was a
place.
translation thing? Just it was
Maybe
poorly
some of
brought
it-
over.
Well, and that's the thing with 13 and 15 is the development crisis they went through. I get it. They did a lot of hard work. A lot of it got mixed up. But man, they really need to do like an overhaul of everything.
And I may have asked this before, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. What's the plot?
That's the thing. Like, it's so hard to explain. I would need like another hour maybe. Because
Okay.
it's a set to
Who's
boil.
the bad guy? Let's just
Um,
start. Let's start with that. Who's the bad guy?
I guess this government guy, his name starts with like a B. It escapes me. It's like Baguette, something like that. I don't know.
Baguette.
Baguette, sure. We're just
Got
going to call him Baguette. It's been so long since I've literally looked at the plot to that because I was so infuriated with how crazy it was.
Did you beat it or did you just like,
No, I watched my
Yeah.
friend beat it. I didn't.
Yeah, I remember.
And even then, I was like, really? We get like the kumbaya friendship is magic ending? Like,
oh,
yeah, everybody gets
fine.
what they want in the end.
Well, I
Tee
mean,
hee hee, your dead son's not
hey,
dead.
some people really appreciate video games for the escapism. So
I
every once in a
know.
while, like
And I'm sorry, but and then the characters are just so insufferable, especially Hope and Vanille.
the Neil.
Like,
Okay.
oh my, they're so annoying. I don't know
Okay.
how anybody can really get through that game. And you know what? If you did, you're better. You're better than I.
Hey, and
I
to
could-
each their own. And I just want to
Yeah.
also say, like, I know we're 4 episodes in, but like, if you enjoyed a game and we're kind of like smashing on
Yeah.
it, like, please enjoy that game. Like,
Oh yeah, like I said,
every person has their own opinion. This person likes A, this person likes B.
13 is for the someone who's the hardcore. I'm going to find every 100% thing in the game.
Okay,
That's what this game is for.
and
Because
great.
if you don't find all the dossiers, which I didn't and my friend didn't, you are missing out on the entire story. So you have to. Do
Oh,
that
so they're
extra.
hidden. It's not.
They're
just,
not really. Some are, some aren't. It's
Okay.
kind of like. It's just like you have to do extra credit in this game to get rewarded with a very confusing plot.
Because I know, as we mentioned in the Mass Effect episode, I loved when you go to the Shadow Broker and you can read like the official dossier of like every single person.
Right, but that's how it should be because it's like extra stuff that just adds to the base.
But that wouldn't have been there if it
material.
wasn't for the DLC. Like,
Right,
if you didn't
but
buy
here's
this,
the thing: you didn't really need it though.
yeah,
I don't
You don't need it. No,
you
you're
don't
right.
need it to get the base story.
Yeah,
13, you need it to
but
get
it's
the base
an
story.
enhancement. It's like
That's
an
what it sh-
amazing icing on a delicious cake.
Correct, and that's what extra credit stuff should be in DLCs. It should be
It
yum
should-
yum. Here's your extra treat for being a good person
Oh, yay.
for playing the game.
Got
this
it.
one's like, if you want to get it, you kind of gotta.
Okay.
And I get it. And also, unfairly, Japan got some extra material, like reading material, before
Okay.
the game was released to even give them even more insight. So,
PlayStation?
uh,
PC?
it was on PlayStation.
It was on
and
PlayStation?
PC, I believe.
Okay.
But they got extra like things to read and mangas and all that. So
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so they had an unfair advantage with the story. But once again, it's extra credit to fulfill the base.
Sure.
So I mean, like I said, Lightning's Lightning's an okay character. Snow's pretty good. Shaw's great character. The dude, he's fine.
Yeah.
It's really just those two that
And
run it down.
Don't you hate it when you enjoy the character that you're playing and the dialogue and how the character's handled, but
Mhm.
they're just trapped in a story that does nothing for them?
Right. And that's kind of how Lightning felt. Like,
I
feel like Lightning would do a lot better without all this extra baggage in this weird plot.
You just wish you could either transplant this character to a different game or just, kind of whitewash all of the
Yeah.
actual plot and
Because at some point they want her and a bunch of other people to turn into this thing called Ragnarok, which is the Voltron thing I'm talking about, to stop the moon base, which is called Cocoon, to fall to the planet named Grand Pulse. Yeah, see, the names are just silly. It gets so silly.
Okay.
But I get it. It's kind of got like a cool little Star Wars thing going. Voltron
Oh, is this?
thing.
I was gonna say, is there a lot of space stuff in this one? Is this
there's
their
a lot of
attempt-
like space, not really a lot of space, but just kind of like that. A lot of crystallizing and people being branded, like in the anime Berserk.
Okay.
Like you've been branded as a Lucille like I said, the names are silly. They just need to really. I think they just
Got it.
lost focus.
Got it. Okay, that's fair.
And that's
So-
really all I got to say about 13. Is just a
Just-
muddled mess.
Just
To me.
not your cup of tea,
Not at all.
but has points that you liked.
like I said, if you're a person who loves going for 100% and extra credit stuff, by all means.
Go for it.
But
But in Matt's review, but
Oh.
mm,
Mm.
mm. So now let's talk about it, Matt. You've been chomping at the
There
bit
we
all
go,
day.
15
Your favorite Final Fantasy.
of all time. I mean, it's the best story in the whole series.
It definitely doesn't fall apart at all in the second act. Look,
Not at all.
and so, and again, spoilers, but like, okay, I played the game and I enjoyed the living hell out of it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I had a great time doing the bounties, running around with your bros, racing some chocobo. I thought the side missions, there was one side mission where you have to like rescue an injured chocobo. And
Yeah.
and it turns like weirdly scary because you're chased by a giant
Behemoth.
thing that's like chasing you
Yeah.
through these logs and like it's raining at night.
That was probably my favorite thing was the horror. when
Oh
it
yeah,
turned-
there was some
like there were some
amazing
parts where it
elements in
turned into
this.
like a horror game, and I'm like, oh my god, good job.
Oh yeah. And like I said, the voice acting was so comically terrible that I loved every
The
second
voice
of it.
acting was exactly what it needed to be.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
it was great. But then once you leave the first continent,
Yeah.
the game just turns into I don't even know. I just remember I stopped having fun and I just wanted to beat the game because I had gotten so far.
Yeah.
And so you leave the continent, from what I recall. It's been a couple of years, and then you just go to like Venice, right? It's just
It's essentially Venice.
You go to Venice, and then you window shop for a little bit.
You know, it's more like you go to a mini resort.
Yeah, yeah.
You fish.
Yeah,
You eat.
you hit a
You do a
buffet or
couple
two.
little-
You
do a
see
little-
a show.
Yeah, you get a little small job to pay for the rest of your stay that
and
you
I
want to
remember
stay
getting
longer.
weirdly lost halfway through it, and I was getting mad because I was like, I want to be doing something other than like sightseeing.
You know, honestly, I probably spent the most time there just doing all the little sightseeing and little things.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the beauty of that game. It has so much potential.
Oh yeah, and like they spent so much time on it, and it looks
Oh, man,
gorgeous.
yeah.
But
I mean, the
it's-
menu, the food looked amazing.
It's
Ridiculous.
Jeez.
I've never
the
seen- it's
food
just
was nutters.
visually beautiful.
Like, remember
All of it.
Wait, no. I'm forgetting the best part of the entire game.
What's that?
The part where your like big bulky best friend with the brown hair, I forget his name at the moment, like he like pulls you aside and tries to have like a straight up life lesson. He's like about like unity, and
I'm trying to
he's like,
remember this,
and he's
yeah.
just like, life is a lot like, and then you have to pick your favorite protein. And then you have to like
Oh, I know
pick
what
your
you're talking
favorite
about,
dish.
yeah.
He's like, life is a lot like having shrimp in your favorite chow mein, you know? And like, and he's like, it's all about the unity of life together. And I was like, and then don't you end up fighting like,
Gladios?
yeah, Gladios. I just remember laughing so comically at like just the silliness of the conversation that we're having.
And
But it's so wholesome. And like
Yeah.
they're trying to make the meaning of it so pronounced, but they did it in such a wacky way.
they really tried to make like a coming of age story.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It
It's
felt like
basically
Stand
Stand
By-
By Me.
yeah, I was gonna say,
it's
it's
Stand By Me.
And then like, I mean, even the first song, for crying out loud, they really
Oh,
like
literally. I think
on
it's
the
Stand By
nose,
Me
yeah.
by Florence and the Machine, isn't it?
Right. But yeah, it's just
Dum,
it's,
dum, dum.
it's so crazy because like everything was cool about it. You
dum, dum.
like this just veneer of beautiful things. They even bring in like Magitech like armor and other things
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And I was like, wow, they really like did a whole cool thing with the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
They make this Nibelheim army seem really cool. They even have all these cool generals and stuff, and the story's kind of like, okay. And
Well,
then like,
then
yeah,
you'll be
you're doing
running-
stuff, and then they even have the best part, like at night, all these cool demons come out. Like
Mhm.
so many great, amazing ideas. And then when you get to that part where you have to go see where your future wife is, your bride,
Yep.
and they summon Leviathan, and then everything after the Leviathan fight, just from the Leviathan fight on, just goes straight to what the hell happened.
I had no idea what I was doing during the Leviathan fight.
And honestly, that's my biggest problem with it too, is like the boss fights like that and Titan and stuff.
Yeah.
You could really just hit the X button and
I mean, and that's what I did. I mean,
Yeah, you
that's
just
the only
mash
way I won. I
buttons.
was like, I guess this is because I don't remember there being a tutorial of how to fight in the air or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I was just like, I guess I'm just swinging it, whatever.
well, and that's kind of how like the rest of the game is. You just jump around, phase, and hit
Wait,
X.
no.
Yeah.
The like second half of the game, they take away all your weapons
Oh, yeah.
and you use a ring.
Oh yeah, the ring.
It was like a crappy Green Lantern ring they give you that only like absorbs people or
yeah.
and I just like I was finally like getting really, really good at what I was doing. Like I was finally mastering everything because again, I love video games, but I'm not great at them. Okay. So when I finally get the swing of things, now I'm like, okay, now I can go. And they're like, okay, now you get to wear a ring and you're just gonna aim at things and sometimes run away.
Yeah.
And you're also in a factory, and you're also kind of lost.
And this factory is made up of hallways and nothing
Yeah.
else.
And so it's like, oh, cool.
Scary robots in hallways.
Oh,
Enjoy.
sure, fine. And then you got to go defeat the evil Doctor Who villain that I don't understand of what he was doing, but turns out he was like
that's a good way to put it. He does feel kind of like a Doctor Who villain because they didn't really flesh him out a lot.
he had a crazy coat and a weird, crazy hat.
Now,
He's
not to
very
mention,
eccentric.
when we talk about this, we're not talking about the DLCs. We're not talking about the movies. We're not talking about the 6-episode anime, which all flesh this whew thing out. We're just talking
I heard
base
a
game.
lot of them are prequel stuff, though, isn't it? It's supposed to be like what happened, like
yeah,
Kingsgrave or something.
Yeah,
da-da-da-da.
so like Kingsglaive, which is the name of the bodyguards for the king, which is his father.
Sure.
That's like the movie, or maybe it's the I can't.
I think it's the
recall straight.
anime.
It might be the anime. The
'Cause I
anime
think-
is all of it's like precursor stuff to
Aaron
fill in.
Paul and Lena Headley,
It's
are
ridiculous.
voice actors for
It's
it.
ridiculous how much material had to be made to make this.
just to really make it feel
The-
concrete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's insane. I've never seen such a thing.
I've never seen such a thing.
Seriously, name one game where we have all this extra material to fill in the base storyline?
Jack and Daxter.
That was all in the game.
Yeah, no,
That was all in the
that
game.
was a bad example.
Jack and
Great
Daxter is actually
game.
pretty straightforward.
Great game.
Oh,
but
amazing
just,
series.
And we're actually going to do an episode on that
Absolutely.
in a later moment.
But anyway, yeah, let's start with music. I think the music in the game was amazing.
Okay.
Side quests, very lackluster. It was very just do the same thing in the same type of dungeon. Not much to
not
it.
many dungeons from what I remember though. There was
Yeah.
there was one or two. I remember there were times where it tried to surprise you, like what was your guy's name? Gladios? He was like, "Hey, dude, I gotta go and do some other stuff, but I'll be back."
So all of them do that at some point in the game. Ignis, Promptu, Gladios. They go, "Oh, I have to go do something. I'll be right back."
Yeah.
But you don't get to find that out until you pay $5 for their DLC.
Oh, is that
That's
what it
the
is?
DLC. And you know what's sad? The saddest
okay.
part, Dan. The DLCs are amazing.
Oh, really?
The DLCs are better than like.
So it's one of
most
those
the
games where you
second
should
half of
just
the game.
wait until the Game of the Year edition
You
comes
have to.
out,
You
and then
absolutely
you can
have
just
to.
figure it out.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I
That's
would
fine.
not play that game unless you got all the DLCs because it fills in so many gaps
Okay.
and it builds those characters to actual good.
Even Promptu.
Even him.
Because I remember
even
us
the
playing it-
Shutterfly annoying.
I remember how much you hated him as a character, Matt.
goodness,
oh
yeah.
my goodness gracious.
He was so annoying, but you know what? That after reviewing that DLC and all that,
Yeah.
it really makes you not hate him.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
The DLC does a great job of like
I-
fixing his character.
You know, even without the
filling it
DLC in the game, I thought they did a good job of like, I think each group of friends knows somebody like that in their friend circle. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I will say in the second half when it's the hallway simulator,
yeah.
like-
Hallway simulator. That's
the hotel simulator,
accurate.
yeah,
Accurate.
that prompts you start to go, oh, he's different. Oh,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
but you get so much more of that DLC in the base game that before all that, you got nothing.
Yeah,
he was just an
kind of-
annoying camera bug.
Well, and then they remember the times they'd have all those like kind of break off conversations where
Yeah.
he'd be like, I don't feel like I should be with you guys. And you're like, dude,
And it
like,
doesn't
you're
make
fine.
sense.
You're fine. It's
But
okay.
you know what? DLC fixes
But then you
that.
find out that it wasn't he like a poor kid?
Essentially, he's like a monster, but not really. or
He's a
something.
monster?
Oh yeah,
Shut up.
he's got some crazy backstory stuff.
Oh, I thought he was just like all three of them are from money and
Spoiler.
the game came out like
I know. It
10 years
2016.
you
Yeah,
know, like 7 years ago.
2016.
I'm not going to do math, so let's just move on.
Well, I think the DLCs came out like 2018,
Oh, okay.
2019, but regardless, yeah.
Okay.
So first half of the game, pretty fantastic. Music's great overall.
Yep.
Like I said, gameplay kind of lackluster. It makes you really feel
Um,
like
I think
well,
it
think
was,
about it. None of your stuff really matters because you can just mash X
I don't
or
know.
mash the dash.
And I don't think we should confuse easy and lackluster.
Well, lackluster
ju-
to me. Well, I'm not confusing it. Like holding down a button and winning.
But it depends on
kinda
how you want
boring.
to play, though.
Well,
right?
this to me plays as an action game.
Okay. Yeah.
Straightforward. It is not turn based. You don't really make a lot of decisions. You go, go, go.
Yeah.
Feels very God of War like.
Sure.
Yeah, you can stop and use an item or switch.
Sure.
But
sure.
it is
But
action.
you're making points. You're
Yeah,
making
I'm
points.
just
I
saying,
get it.
like as an action game, which is how I'm viewing the gameplay,
Mhm.
kind of lackluster.
But, like,
once
as-
you figure out you can just hold down the buttons.
As
and
somebody
pretty much
who
win.
just started with this like first game in the franchise,
I think it's a fine.
I think if somebody was gonna play Final Fantasy, this is a good way to start them.
I
If
guess.
you give them the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC, so the story feels concrete.
yeah,
But like it's safe.
it's safe.
It doesn't try and over introduce too much.
Because it underintroduces
Yeah.
everything.
You know, it's very much like you get to know the world at your own pace. Nothing is really
Yeah, like I
forcing
said,
you into situations that you don't
The first half
understand.
of the game is fantastic. You're gonna
Yeah.
have a great time. The side quests suck, but like the mini games are great. Like the chocobo racing, the fishing, all that's
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, geez,
That's all
the
fun.
fishing.
You get lost in the fishing. Because let's face it, the other side quests were like the find the frogs. Hated that.
fun. Oh yeah, yeah.
That was annoying.
It was fine.
But
I
that's
mean,
the thing. It's fine. It's
and so a lot of games are guilty of that, where it's like find the blank, and I'll do the first two because you find it's easy the first
Yeah.
time, it's medium the second time, and then they're like, no, go find the rarest thing in the entire kingdom, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. Like I'm
Right.
not going to spend 45 minutes looking for a frog. That seems
well, and that's the problem with this one. Like I said, there's just so much potential in this game, and you can tell they put so much work and effort, and it's so great until you get to that halfway point.
yeah. And now that I'm remembering, this game does have one of my biggest pet peeves
What's that?
in new games altogether, and that is the introduction of photography where it doesn't need to be there. So where it's like it just
Explain
randomly
yourself.
so you have to take photos of things.
Oh,
Like and they're like
the Pokemon Snap
yeah,
syndrome.
Pokemon, but like even like the newest Zelda Breath of the Wild, they're like, here's
Oh,
your Sheik
yeah.
estate. You want to take photos of things?
Oh my goodness, I totally forgot about that.
No, I don't want to take photos of things. Like it's just there's too many, and we
No,
I
don't.
think I've talked to David about this once or twice, and his thing is like, he really enjoys it because it's the producers of the game making sure you slow down and take time and look at all of the details
a lot
that
of
the
sense.
artists have. And like when he said that, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. But like,
But you shouldn't have to force that because honestly, I would notice it without the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, look at 10. Final Fantasy 10, back to that one.
yeah,
Beautiful game.
like
Like the world of Sphera or whatever, beautiful.
and like if you
That-
can,
I didn't need a
if
camera.
you can make it relatable to the main character, like Spider-Man. I mean, we mentioned that earlier.
Oh yeah.
Like he's a photographer.
That makes
It
sense.
makes
then.
complete sense that there are
Pokemon
times
Snap. It's all about the snapping.
it's literally it's all about the snapping.
That makes sense.
But like in Zelda, they're like, now take photos.
It does feel
I
awkward.
don't really think that he really got his mass comm degree. Like his shot composition is going to be all over the place.
He's been comatose.
Exactly. Did you try light this? Because I feel like you're only using 2 lighting sources
And I
right
guess
now.
it kind of makes sense in 15 because, like, technology-wise, they would
Well,
have it,
and is impromptu.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
His
he's a
big thing is
shutterbug,
he's
yeah.
a big,
which is fine. So
photographer thing.
I didn't really. I get it. It's a little annoying at times, but at least it did pay off at the end.
Okay.
Like that was one good thing about the second half is the photo he takes.
Oh yeah,
Remember
that's
that?
it. Really does.
that was
I
a
forgot
great
about that.
payoff.
Like the final moment. Wait, don't you get to pick a photo to
Yeah.
keep with you?
Yep.
Okay, maybe I need to eat my own tongue because I do remember really
That-
enjoying
so-
that.
No, but I get what you're saying. Like games really shouldn't do that, but like this one, it fits, but
Okay.
it really does pay off in the end.
Got it.
However, that's how this game feels though. It's like a bag of diamonds, but they also put a lot of coal in there too, and they shake it up. And for every
Mhm.
diamond, you get 2 pieces of coal.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's and now I feel really bad because I remember how much I was in love with the like you only get to take 1 photo with you,
Yeah,
and don't you get rated on your photos too?
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe just because I went to school for mass comm. I don't
No, I
ever
think-
want to be
I believe
graded
you're right,
on
there
my
is a-
photos ever again. Like the second you give me a grade next to a photo, I have like PTSD
Right.
of all that other stuff. So
Okay, so we talked about music, side quests.
we didn't talk much
gameplay.
about music.
There's not really much to
said
say.
you-
It's just a lot of ambient music.
okay.
But it's good. Like here's the thing about Final Fantasy: you're never really going to be disappointed with the music.
Yeah.
Every
They're
sing-
orchestra stuff.
Oh yeah, everything across the board is fantastic. Even that silly heavy metal song
Okay.
from the one that escapes me. It's probably 13, I bet.
I have no idea.
I
Like
guarantee
he
it
he
probably
literally
is.
just looked at me like I was supposed to like feed him the answer, but incorrect. You are looking at the wrong
Help.
person. I can just say a number 12.
My God, he's right.
There it is. Done. Fixed it. You're welcome. My bill is in the mail.
But no, but yeah, let's go to characters because we'll do plot last.
Well, what about character design? Because I
I
mean,
think character design, it's a little bland.
bland. 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 3 bros.
So no. I don't think bland's the right word because I think they jumped on the hot topic train and rode
yeah.
it all the way to the station.
That's why I didn't like it.
I don't think
That's why I
it's
thought it was bland.
I don't think it's bland. It's just a little dated, I think.
Okay.
Because I think what they did, like if this game came out in the heyday of
20
hot
years-
top,
in the
like
90s?
yeah, in the like or early 2000s. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
that's when the cool stuff
Probably,
was.
yeah. If they had Jinkos.
Like instead of Florence and the Machine, it should have been My Chemical Romance. Like they should have just jumped aboard the emo train,
Right.
and this game could have been a multi-platinum seller in 2003. Okay. Unfortunately, it came out in like 2012 or whatever it is.
Well, what I mean by bland is like it's just 3 guys. Like
4 guys.
4 guys.
It's
Yeah.
4 guys. Yeah.
It's 4 guys. But
Yeah.
regardless.
All in like black leather.
Well, I'm not
and
assuming
boots.
Noctis's gender. That's why I said.
Okay, I was like, did I miss another?
No, I
cutscene?
saw that. I got.
Is that in the DLC too? I'm so out of
I
it.
just wanted to confuse you.
Okay, got it.
But no, when I say bland, I mean like every Final Fantasy usually has a wide cast of characters. Most of them anyway.
I see what
like
you
have
mean.
monsters, you have other things.
Yeah.
This one's just
And
3 friends
and-
from
and
their
ju-
hometown.
And it's just 4 people. Like I
Or 4,
remember
yeah, 4
playing
friends
it.
from hometown.
I remember playing it for a while and calling you and going like, Matt, I'm playing a Final Fantasy, and I only have 4 people in my party.
It feels weird.
Like it feels weird because you've always said
Yeah.
like the great things about the games is you can create the cast that you want, and that it's very customizable. This game
most
is
of the time, yeah, 'cause
non-customizable.
Usually they give you like 6 or 7 characters.
This
and it's
game is like you get these 4 people.
hope
you're
you like them.
You're welcome. Now move on. So I don't know. Like
Yeah.
that did disappoint me because I do miss. Well, I shouldn't say miss because
Well,
I've only played.
You
one,
want to know my
but-
biggest pet peeve about the characters?
No.
Okay. There's a really cool one.
Okay. So what is it? Throw it at me.
Her name is Arania Highwind.
What
Does
do
the
you?
name Highwind ring a bell? Probably.
Oh,
not
is that?
for
Oh,
you.
is that Sid's daughter? Right? She's the
Hey!
mechanic.
Well, that's Sydney.
Oh, that's
Cindy.
Sydney.
Cindy.
Is it Sydney Highwind though?
Cindy Aram. So
Aram.
Highwind is the Sid from 7.
Okay.
This chick has the same last name as that Sid
So they
from
just
7.
made Sid Sydney,
It's
or is
like
there an
Aram.
actual Sid in there?
There's a Sid in there as Sid Aram.
Okay.
So there's another Sid, but they kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge to this other
Got it.
Sid with her. However, she's a really good. She's the one that comes in and like works for the Empire, kind of messes with you guys from time to time.
Don't remember.
You don't remember that part?
I just remember the girl at the first. She works at like the local
that's
gas
just-
station.
She's the that's Sid's daughter, but like or granddaughter or whatever. But she's kind of milquetoast. Just
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. She's there. You're like, yep, I get
Which
it.
is
And
sad
then you
because
move
she
it on.
had so many quests with the car. I'm like, surely they'll.
She
put
was
her in
like
a-
she's the one who like updated your car
Yeah,
and like customized it, right?
I kid you not. I seriously thought they were going to make her a playable character in your party at one point. I'm like, that'll be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
She'll be your mechanic. You can switch
Hit
her out.
people with a wrench.
Do something like
Mhm.
whenever there's a quest with the car, she'll come along. Nope,
Mhm.
nope,
Nope.
nothing.
You got 4
Or maybe
people.
that Sid will join. Nope.
That's 4. Well, every once in a while, I think in some of the missions, one of your team members would leave, and then you get like some random. Because I think there's like a bounty hunter that joins your party, a girl bounty hunter, for like a mission or 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
And then like
that's
there's a
what I'm
part where you got
talking
to go to
about.
a reactor core and do
Well-
something
well,
where
she-
somebody else shows up.
Well, she was part of the Empire.
Okay.
she kinda
She's
like-
the one you said shows up and messes with you every once in a while.
Right, and
Got
then
it.
at the end, she kind of switches sides. and-
Sure.
but like, yeah, she's awesome. And then we just kind of drop her at the end.
Yeah.
We drop so many cool characters in this game for no reason. And
Well, remember
she was amazing.
You get in a cocoon for like 15 years so you can turn into the evolution of Keanu Reeves. Joke already made, but I
Right.
liked it, so I'm doing it again. And then you just jump in a car to drive
But yeah,
to.
like you were saying, yeah.
Oh, but it does. It does do actually. This game does something that I really, really love that not many games do. It where it starts you out fairly high leveled in a big final boss battle. Like
Yeah,
it
what
starts
was
you
with
out doing that.
that?
Oh, I love that. Dragon Age 2 did that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I always love it when the game just gives you like, if you put enough time and energy in this, look how cool you can be. And so you're like, oh, you get a little taste of like your powers, you get a little taste of like what your abilities can be, and then boom, right back to square one. And you have to like, make your way up there. I love it when that happens.
Do you want to know one of the first games that ever did that, Dan?
Is it Final Fantasy 2?
Mega Man X.
Mega Man X?
Yeah.
Who's Mega Man?
Oh my goodness. Anyway.
There it is. And good night, everyone.
Yeah,
No,
good.
whatever.
I'm good at her. No, but anyway, no, that Ariana Highwinder or Arnea or whatever. Yeah, like she was a mercenary working for the bad guys, but she would
Mhm.
switch to your side.
Sure.
Totally drop her. Not to mention all the cool characters we get with the Empire itself.
Sure.
Like we get that general, we get the other ones, we get like the one guy, brother. Like there's so many of
There's
them.
like a weird Jamie Lannister like
Yeah, right,
character in
him.
there who.
Which is like Luna's brother.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
like-
yeah.
All these characters we just forget about as soon as Leviathan shows up.
Yeah.
And everything goes on the railroad choo-choo to
Mhm.
Endgame.
Is that
town.
the Leviathan's the dragon thing, right?
It's the water.
The water
serpent,
dragon
in
thing?
all
Yeah,
of
the
them,
water
yeah.
serpent. Yeah.
Which
Got
is
it.
pretty much in all the Final Fantasy.
But I do remember enjoying the train sequence because it was a little
Actually, that part was pretty fun.
mind mucky, because you
Yeah.
didn't really know what was happening, and so I mean I would give 15 an overall score of like a solid B-.
Oh, I wish I could give it that.
I'd give it a solid B minus.
I wish I could if it was a complete game.
Okay,
but it's
so
not.
if we're talking about like
We're just
everything all
talking-
together, Game
nope.
of the Year edition,
I still would probably give it like a C.
a C.
Because just because the combat's not that great, and on top of that, like everything's still kind of muddled and confused.
Mhm.
You still drop a lot of plot points and
Sure.
don't talk about like to me it's just
Then let's cut it into two real
I
quick.
can't- I
what
can't
about
take
what
it.
about what about like first part on the first continent? And because I would give like
if you want to break it into
if
two
I
like
if I
that,
would cut it into the first continent
Yeah.
is like a B plus, A minus. I loved it. I had a great time.
right? Like if you're saying we're gonna break it into half like that, yeah,
Second half is like a D because I just remember I stopped having fun and I just wanted to beat it.
I would give it a straight up F
You
because
a failure.
I
Like,
have never
back to
fe-
the drawing board.
I have never felt so betrayed in a game before in all my entire life.
Anders, Dragon Age 2.
Okay, that was pretty betrayed.
Yeah,
but
that's
I mean that's a pretty big betrayal.
thank you.
Okay,
We'll be talking about
my-
Dragon Age here pretty soon too. Don't
my
worry.
second biggest betrayal.
this is okay. My third biggest betrayal.
But no, seriously, like I'm like, this game's great. I can't wait to see where we go.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll pick up more on like the story. No,
Sure.
oh nope. You just get tunnel visioned into this fast go, get to the end, get out of here, we're done.
Yeah. And even like the whole warehouse thing just felt
Yeah, the factory warehouse,
you're
Empire
like,
base.
okay, it's like and they tried to introduce like horror elements because there's parts where you have to hide from
Right,
the
yeah.
things. And at that point, like I think I was just mad because they had taken away my weapons. I had to completely redo how I play the game. And they're like, oh, but it's scary now. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not looking for this now. Like I want to
Right.
keep going. I want to fight. I want to
Because now I'm
Be
confused
strong.
because now I'm all of a sudden at the end where like the bad guy area,
yeah.
which in most games is like, oh, this is it. This is the final. No, this is just a
And
bunch
that
of hallways and a
freaking-
control room.
The
and-
ring of your dad and someone, and
Yeah.
we have to combine
And
them.
that's the thing. They left out
when-
so much. And I don't
when
blame
all
them
our
because
powers
everything was
combined,
so messed up
you know.
in the production. But
I don't know.
yeah.
So final score, man. You're giving the whole thing a
yeah,
D?
also F.
No, okay.
I'm giving it an F, and I'm going to tell you another reason why.
Tell me
The
why.
coolest part in the game is when you finally wake up from your egg coma.
Egg coma,
Your
yeah.
little sleeper cell coma. And they go, the world's in ruin. Let's get you to the gas station. That's our last bastion.
Yeah.
So they drive you from dead Venice to the gas station.
Yeah. The
you see
golden
all
key.
this cool stuff going on. Like, oh man, there's giant
Oh,
iron
yeah.
giants roaming around and like fire bombs and stuff. And you're like, oh man, what are we going to do? And it's like, we're just driving.
Yeah.
No, don't look over there.
Yeah.
They turn it into a Disney park roller coaster ride, and you're
Don't
like, what
you-
is going on?
Don't you wish you get to your friends and they're all like, oh, hey, what's up? And you're just like, you guys suck.
Yeah.
Like, I've been asleep and you let everything go to crap.
well,
Like,
and,
you are bad at what we were doing.
and then they don't even tell you how everything happens because you have to pay for the extra. I was like, this is ridiculous.
all they
All the cool stuff
all the
happens when
characters
you're
like
asleep.
they're like, hey, what happened? And they all look at the camera like $14.99. And then this game just stays there.
Because they all look like they went through Saving Private Ryan together.
Hey, but like, and everyone looks so much cooler. Isn't someone missing an arm?
yeah, somebody's missing a freaking eye.
Yeah,
And
it's
this
just
is like
like,
missing an eye.
well, you all look cooler, so that's good
That's
to
what I'm
know.
saying. I think Prompto got a goatee.
Yeah, or it's not even. It's like fortune hairs.
And then,
good
like,
for you, Prompto.
And then another cool part, you go to the ruined city at the end, and it's just like a linear path to get to
Yeah.
like the E04 boss. And then
oh,
you-
Ifrit boss was so cool though.
it was cool if it would have been challenging.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
once again,
and again, I think we've said this in a different show. If I can ever beat a boss
Mhm.
on the first go,
for Dan,
it's
that's
too easy. Too easy.
Because even the Scorpion boss in 7 beat Dan at least 3
Don't
times.
tell me what to do. Let me attack. I don't care where his tail is. If I'm beating you with a sword, it doesn't matter the position of the back half of your tail.
But yeah, base.
Dumb.
So wrapping it up, yeah, base game with all those flaws and all the drop plots and cool characters. You built it up so hard for me, and then you let me down and stabbed me in the back.
Okay.
I give it an F. With the DLCs and all that, maybe a C. C
Oof,
minus.
you are a rough critic. You are
I am
rough,
a hard,
rough
I'm
critic.
rough because I love.
Rough because you love.
Rough because I love.
Aw.
Same with 13. I don't.
So the
I don't-
last
no.
Final Fantasy worth playing was. That was a question to
Oh,
you.
1. That's it. Just play the first
One, don't like just play Final Fantasy 1 and
No,
it's
I'm just
all
kidding, I'm
garbage
kidding.
ever
Yeah.
since.
No, really the last. I mean,
The last one that really got you. The last
the
tickled your
last.
pink.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of the last one I played.
I mean, you love Dissidia and you love Tactics.
Crisis Core I played. I'm trying to think of the last. Now, if you were talking about my all-time favorites,
Sure.
Tactics, number 1.
Which one's that?
That's the off-brand where it's kind of like a chessboard.
Oh, yeah.
the
That was
job
fun.
class system.
That
Tactics,
was fun. With the
beautiful
Onion Knight, right?
Very
Wasn't there-
hardcore, like Game of Thrones story.
Got it.
Yeah, well, the DLC or the extra version of it, like the DS version, came with the Onion Knight.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
And then 6, obviously, is number like way up on my list.
Okay.
You know why, Dan?
Why?
Because there's nothing like the villain just winning.
I'm a big fan of the villain winning.
Yeah,
It's
wait
been-
till you wait. You need to play that one. You'll really like it.
Alrighty, kids. Well, it looks like we have officially reached the end of another fun episode. I want to thank you guys all for joining us in the past hour. Matt, do we have one final sponsor on our way out?
We sure do, Dan. And it's our sponsor. Final one today is Marlboro Marlboros. Now in 3 new flavors. Warning: may cause cancer, gum disease, and/or bad breath.
Oh, okay. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Next week.
Bye.